Hello YouTube, I hope you're doing well. I'm back after a much needed little break, and today we are going to break down my latest edit of Wiley wearing my Rolex, and I'm going to show you the creative ideas and processes behind starting an edit. So let's hop into Ableton and see how I've made this one.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Okay, so we are inside Ableton now, and you can see the whole project. So there's quite a few channels, but nothing crazy going on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a bit of a track for you in case you haven't already heard it on my social media accounts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to start making a tech house edit, because it can be quite a daunting process to almost remix someone else's tracks without their permission and without their stems or anything like that. You have to sort of scout the internet and find the samples and the ideas and all kinds of stuff, which we're all going to go through and I'm going to break down, and then we're going to just go through the basic sort of elements of drums, percussions, and how to put your own spin on someone else's track. Right, let's just play it from this bit here.
Usually drink, usually dance, usually bubble. 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 Usually drink, usually dance, usually bubble.
Yeah, so you can see how that is really just going to pop off in a club, because it's so recognizable and it's very, very similar to the original. So something I'm going to quickly talk about and give two examples of is the difference between an edit, which this is, and then sampling from someone else's work. There's a big difference, and I think a lot of people get confused. So I've found two good examples to sort of explain the difference. So we're going to use my track just for continuity to show examples of the difference between sampling a well-known track and editing a well-known track. So this track here, if you haven't already heard it, I've done a whole series on how to mix it down. But if I play it from here.
You've been hit by.
So if you don't know what that is Michael Jackson. I've just literally taken a snippet of his track, then manipulated it, sort of pitched it down, and played around with it and fitted it into my own track. So this isn't Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, Brennan James edit, because all I've just done is taken a few words or a phrase from his track, manipulated it to make it sound quite different as well, and then put it in my own track. Now, something which is more of an edit is this track by Ollie Nick, and you can even see how it's an edit straight away, because he's labelled the original artist first and then he's put his name afterwards. You've got the original melody in there, so of Where's Your Head At by Basement Jaxx, and he's just put a different beat over the top of it. So you can hear the sort of almost difference in the two there. How one's just been sampled from a well-known track and one is very closely following a well-known track. So that is the difference between sampling, which is what I've done on my track and he's okay, and an edit on this track. So now you're thinking, well, how do I go about an edit and how do I start it and can you edit anything? Well, the answer is sort of yes and no to that. So you can you go around editing everything? Yes, you can. Is some tracks easier than others? Yeah. If you want to sample and make an edit of Drake Controller, that's probably going to be a lot more difficult than it is to sample something like Basement Jack, Where's Your Head At? Because that's already like a house track or got that house 4 on the floor beat to start with. You also need to account if you can find the vocal acapellas or be able to rip a decent vocal acapella, so then you can make your own beat and then add the vocal in on top of that. So obviously the easiest way to look for acapellas to try and isolate the vocal so you can build your own beat and your own track around that is hopping on YouTube. So you can see here I was trying to find it for the edit I made, the Wiley edit, which none of them came up unfortunately. All we have here is the what would you do part of the edit of the acapella, which is not what I wanted. I wanted Wiley's actual acapella. So then you can hop on to Google, is usually your best bet. So there was one on here from this Vox remover. So you just have to upload the track and then it sort of splits it, which I think it did quite a good job at. So it's always worth trying, and always just have a look to see, yeah, like see here the remix stems, like you can then buy that. Some of them you can buy. If there's a track in mind, just YouTube and Google it. Now if those aren't working, then we live in the modern world luckily, where we have AI and you can use vocal removers and isolators. Now are they perfect every single time? No, unfortunately not, but it's incredibly impressive how close it can get to removing the vocal from a track, and I have no idea how it works, so don't comment in the below asking me how it works, because it's witchcraft to me. But what you just do is just browse your files, find the track that you want to edit, so make sure you have the original first, and then it will just do some magic trickery and you can download it. Some of them you have to pay for. That is one way you can isolate the vocal for making an edit. The next part is trying to either recreate the iconic part of the track that you're trying to edit or get the melody. So easiest bet for that is hopping on to Google and just typing it in. So whatever track you've got in mind, and then just put melody. Check for images, because there might be a piano roll with the notes in and stuff like that. Or there's usually some sort of website like this one, chordify.net. So it should show you the notes. Unfortunately this one hasn't worked very well, but I have used this website before on other tracks like Robin S, Show Me Love, and Kylie Minogue, Out of My Head. So that's how you can copy the melody for it. Now if you aren't having much luck with copying the melody within Google or YouTube or anything like that, then there are some ways you can do it in Ableton. So what we can just do is go to here and let's just copy him over here. So if you're lucky enough for the edit to have just the melody of the bass or whatever you're trying to recreate, whether that's like the bass line, whether it's a synth line, whatever it is, whatever you're just trying to recreate, there might be a part in the track where it's just soloed. So if I just play this part, so that's like in the intro, before the vocal comes in, before the kick comes in, anything like that. So what you can always do is, if you have your MIDI channel with whatever preset, whatever you're wanting to use on there, you can then just Command V, and then you're going to say you want to change it to a melody, because it's not drums, it's not harmony, it's a melody. And what it's going to try to do is it's going to try and replicate this audio file to MIDI as closely as it can. So is it going to do it perfectly every time? No. And in this case, you can see it hasn't worked, unfortunately, but this is definitely an option worth trying. So the other way that you can do this is it's just the old school way, which is creating a MIDI roll. And then you want to make sure you're in the right key, sort of C sharp major, and that's going to come up with all of the ones on there. And it is a case of maybe looking back at what we found over here and you go, okay, well, D, F, A, C, they seem to be the notes that this one's picking up. Going back into here, and then we can go, so what was it? F. That definitely sounds like one of the keys. D definitely sounds like one of the keys. What else was it? A. I think that was pretty much it. So then you could always go fold. And then you can start replicating. If we zoom in, we can see where the notes land. So if we listen to this, and then we go back up to here. So I reckon that first note is D, and you just progressively build the melody. Oops, like so. So now you can see how we're starting to get the notes in the right place. So then you can go through, get all your notes in the right place, and then you can listen to it to the reference and then move up and down through the scale until you get them all in the right key. And then you've recreated that iconic melody of whatever edit you're trying to make. Like I just said, all of this information that I've just explained on how to go about getting vocals and how to recreate iconic parts of a track you're editing is all made easier depending on the track you are trying to make. So if you're making something like this, which is practically a house track already, it's very easy to replicate. Same with, like I just mentioned, Kylie Minogue's Out My Head, Robin S. Show Me Love. They've all got that 4 on the floor beat, so it's very, very easy to replicate and make a good edit of it. If I was trying to make an edit of NWA, Dr. Dre or anything like that, it's gonna be a lot harder because they're using different beats, completely different BPMs, different drum programs, stuff like that. So, you know, when you're trying to make an edit, and especially the first one, try and make it as simple as you can, and maybe even find a house track with quite a catchy vocal in or something like that. I don't know, maybe like a James Hype track, put a deep tech spin on a James Hype track and something like that, just because it's going to be a lot easier to get going then. Okay, so that is the end of the first YouTube video back. I'm sorry in the delay in the uploads. I had issues with my internet, and then I wanted to take a week off anyways from the end of the Track From Scratch series. So yeah, there was a bit of a delay, but I'm back now and we're going to go for the twice a week uploads again. So we've got this one that has just come out today. We have got the second part of how to make a tech house edit, which is going to be breaking down the Wiley edit, but we're going to go through sort of the drums, the bass, and considerations and thought processes you need to consider when making a tech house edit. And then on Friday, we will be going over my Night Cuts release, which I'm super excited about. So I thank you for helping me grow all the channels and all my social medias. They're all really popping off at the minute, so much love to everyone who drops a comment or even DMs me, and my inbox is always open for any help messages or just for general chat. So thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video.